if all they're thinking about is a transaction, getting the deal done and getting paid. I've found that clients can tell. Client certainly wants things to come out successfully, but if they didn't enjoy the experience, they probably won't work with you again, and they won't tell anyone about you. It makes you a one-off broker, and it really helps your competitors. The brokers who are really successful are those who think of the experience. Was the experience worth the transaction?
With over 35 years of experience in commercial real estate under her belt, Marcy is here to deliver you commercial real estate value. Marcy, thank you for being on the show today. As someone who has led teams through multiple market cycles, what leadership traits or brokerage habits do you believe will define the next generation of top performers in commercial real estate?
For me, it's quite frankly the same characteristics, the same attributes that have always worked well in commercial real estate, and that's someone who can hustle, someone who is committed to getting it done, whatever that is, and someone who has a really in-depth understanding of client management. That client management is all about what the client wants and needs, not what you want to give the client. And so it's very different. And listening to a client, they want to be heard, they want to be seen, they want to be understood. So it's all about the client. And those brokers that I see in the market now who are really successful are those kind of brokers. They understand it's all about the client. They also understand, again, the hustle, whether that's cold calling. I know you're not necessarily an advocate of cold calling, but sometimes for junior brokers, there you go. But it has to be you're dedicated to your craft. You have to be out there. You have to be meeting people, whether they're clients, prospective team members. Quite frankly, you have to get out there. That would be my 2 cents worth.
It's so interesting how the work you do today somehow just seems to pay off in 3 years, in 5 years.
Yes, it does. One of the things I've found with brokers is if all they're thinking about is a transaction, getting the deal done and getting paid. There is something about that I've found that clients can tell. That they just want that it's just about the transaction. But the brokers who are really successful are those who think of the experience. Because think about it, a client certainly wants things to come out successfully, but if they didn't enjoy the experience, they probably won't work with you again. And they won't tell anyone about you. And what that does is it makes you a one-off broker, and it really helps your competitors.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go somewhere where the experience is worthwhile. As you know, in Colorado, there is a saying, is the hike worth the view? Same thing with the experience for a client. Was the experience worth the transaction?
I like that. We're both sitting here in Colorado, and that resonates.
It does.
When you talk about client experience, what is the definition of client experience to you?
It's not what I want them to have or what the platform of my company wants them to have. It's active listening. It's really sitting down and doing a diagnostic with a client and finding out what are their needs, what are their pain points, what hasn't worked in the past, what they want to embrace for the future and try some things that might be really important. And also when you sit down with a client, let's say it's an asset manager, find out if it's about a particular asset, find out if that asset is within a portfolio. And if it is, what kind of play does that asset make within the portfolio? Is it 60%? Is it 20%? You want to know those things. You have to look beyond the immediate asset and think about what the asset manager or the owner needs for the bigger picture and not be so focused that you're losing sight of what the client needs to do for the future.
It's funny because to me, there's like no other way of transacting.
Oh,
And it's like you said, like maybe that is just like a genuine, like that authentically comes from who you are as a person. Are you a transactional person? As much as the commissions and the success is great.
Yeah.
Some of the relationships I have that come out of these transactions, the people I meet, these people become friends and the relationships can be sweeter than the checks.
absolutely.
And like, man, if you're doing this every day, for your, day in, day out, 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, I would hope that you would gain more than just a couple, zeros on your screen in the bank.
Well, but I mean, think about that. I have people who are no longer clients, but we talk 20 years worth, just checking in on family. And that's because when you have a client, if you ever have the privilege of walking into their office and can see what's important to them on the walls or sitting on a credenza or whatever, and you don't take notice of that, you're missing something, because those are things later on you can kind of tag in with the client now and then, kind of, softballs to stay connected. I have a client that I learned his son was autistic 20 years ago. I'm still checking in with him. How is Jack doing?
Wow.
And would send him, articles or whatever. You came to mind. Hope all is well on the home front. Those sort of things. That to me is treating a transaction, an assignment, a deal like a human.
Crazy how that works for you.
It's worked for 35 years. I mean, when I started, it was all about art and science, which meant the art was the art, quite frankly, of bullshit, of talking to the client, doing handshake for deals. It was all about kind of the cowboy, the Wild West. And science was a number or two that you used. And it was usually your cell phone number. But now that's flipped, because you and I know this about technology and social media and digital marketing. Science now rules, and the art is still there and really important to help differentiate, if nothing else. But data, digital marketing, interaction, having more than co-star for your clients, those sort of things have now taken over. And quite frankly, I think the pandemic took commercial real estate out of the 19th century into the 20th century. I don't know that we're even in the 21st, but it helped with that.
It's so funny you bring it up and you talk about the art and the science of relationships and transacting. I was talking to an unbelievable broker yesterday about this. He's asking me about the social media and the angle and how to extract the most value. And I said to him, the posts that do the best and resonate the most with the potential client, user, tenant, owner are the ones you would least suspect it. I posted on LinkedIn a picture of my one-eyed cat. Okay? I get a call from an owner. He said, he owns a bunch of warehouses in town, and he said, I have a one-eyed cat. It's like the most, right? The Bentley of clients are portfolio owners as a broker.
Yes.
This portfolio owner called me because I posted a picture of my one-eyed cat that resonated with him. Right? This is no longer. I know it's just and so I like to tell brokers, yes, your successes are important to post, what you closed, the comp, blah, blah, blah. But also there's like an element of just being a real person, showing your authentic self, and maybe even being creative and posting something else. And the craziest part about it is, in my experience, the best results come from the least suspecting content that we post online.
I would agree. I think when we show that human side, that it gives them a better understanding. What I've found oftentimes when I look at posts from brokers They use LinkedIn like a bulletin board. They might as well go to King Soopers or whatever, put it up on, with the thumbtack on a bulletin board. All they do is closed.
Yeah.
You might remember that they can connect the brokers who were working on it in the post, but they don't say what was the value, the money saved, the things about the deal that were unique that they brought to the table, because I would think they want to establish that they're an expert on LinkedIn. If they get business from it, terrific. But you want to establish your expertise.
I literally scream from the mountaintops to my competitors in my market, get on LinkedIn, get on social media, tell people, and they won't do it. And I'm like, look, that's fine. Like, I'll keep, taking that market share. It does nothing but help me. Believe me. Your resistance to posting on social media, because it's taboo in our industry, helps me. So this leads into a question I have for you about data.
Okay.
Transparency, technology. You just said that commercial real estate lives in the 20th century, but you and I are living in the 21st century.
Right.
How do you see client expectations and industry standard transacting as it pertains to data, transparency, and technology? And what should brokers be fundamentally doing to stay in compliance, but also stay ahead?
Well, compliance, quite frankly, often is handled by the brokerage firm they're working with. And oftentimes, there's some firms that do not want the brokers to have their own persona, that it has to be under the umbrella of the firm. So some brokers I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're not extending themselves. Brokers need to understand that the excuse, I don't have time for it, is no longer valid. I talk with them about, you do know you can schedule those. What? How do you do that? So we talk a bit about that. I have some clients that I'm working with them on their marketing plan for that. And that marketing, not in a co-star, but however they were marketing themselves before, has a further reach than they've ever had before. And they are associating and partnering and connecting with other brokers and clients around the world. It's not just the US.
Yeah.
And it's free. I mean, I heard you say that in Palm Desert, and I was just, duh. She's absolutely right. Why wouldn't you use it? Why wouldn't you put together a plan? Why wouldn't you go into ChatGPT or one of the other platforms and ask, here are my interests, here are the trends, here are the topics I want to talk about. Help me create 5 or 6 posts over the next couple weeks, and I will schedule them. I will learn how to use that little, clock on LinkedIn, and I will schedule them, and they will come out like that. It's the best free marketing they could possibly get.
I want to double click into that. That's my new word, double clicking into.
I'll have to swipe it.
Okay. I want to double click into that.
Yeah.
The power of social media lies in the fact that I can post something and then go hang out with my daughter, and it's working for me.
24 hours, 7 days a week. Yes.
Overtime, double time.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. But everybody wants that quick. This goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning. I post, or the broker expectation, the transactional broker expectation is post sale. That's not reality.
No. Nothing happens that quick.
Correct. I'm still waiting for that one.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with social media. There is no post sale. It's really what goes, like you just said, hustle, consistency, authenticity.
Yes.
In providing an experience for the end viewer to gain value of the experience, in the hopes that, and it's not the hopes, like I am a case in point that there is no hope behind this. Like, consistency will lead to transactions.
Right.
But it takes time and it's not glamorous, and nothing is in life that's worth it. So,
Well, and think of this. They can practice client management on LinkedIn. I sit in on Mo and Fly's Social Surge Tuesday and Thursday mornings. And one of the things we were talking about is people will post on LinkedIn and they don't host the post. It would be like you have a party, you get all the food, all the beverages out, music's on, all of that. People start coming in and you're sitting in a closet somewhere. You're not engaging, you're not whatever. So when you post on LinkedIn and people comment and they like, if you're not responding to that, I don't think people know only 13% of people on LinkedIn get likes, comments, that sort of thing. So you better treat them like the gold that they are, just like with a client.
I have divulged this. If I want somebody's attention and they are on a social media platform, I am liking and commenting on every single thing they are posting absolutely relentlessly. And it works.
It does.
So if I like all your stuff, now you know why. So speaking of, I was going to I'll just ask the question instead of segue it. What do you think are the biggest opportunities right now in industrial real estate? And how can brokers position themselves to capture? I want to say brokers or owners position themselves to capture the opportunity in industrial.
First of all, owners leave that 2020 and 2022 pricing that you like to hold on to where back in the past, and listen to your brokers, read whatever market advice coming into the 21st century on that, and understand that things have changed. Industrial, hot, cooling a smidge, a bit, but not like office, not like some of, the other lines of business. But there has to be a reality check, because if there isn't, you will hire someone, let's say, to sell your building, who will tell you what you want to hear, and then you'll need to reprice, a reduction, or it will sit.
So if I'm owner A and I want to sell, how am I differentiating between the broker who's full of shit and the broker who's honest with the lower number?
Quite frankly, during the pitch, I'd want to find out, tell me your last 6 months, year, of those buildings that you sold, what was the percentage of closeness, if you will, that you got to the number you said you would sell the building for?
The bid-ask gap.
Yes, thank you very much. That would be really important, because you have to weed out the bullshit from the presentation, from the reality of what their experience is and what they actually can accomplish.
It's a big struggle we're dealing with right now.
I know. That's why I brought it up. And then with brokers, how they can differentiate in a tough market is the things that we've mentioned before. It's not so much now, but it used to be industrial brokers were treated a bit like a misfit toy, because industrial was industrial. And, because the return on the effort was just minimal compared to what it is now. Certainly not office or how office was. But they need to step up and get out of that mindset that they can kind of just play at the game, do a little bit here or there. But this is serious business. Industrial is now a top line of business, and you need to pay attention, and you need to rise with the boat, if you will, and really put in the time, the effort. I have a broker, male broker that I'm working with, and one of the things we talked about was knowing your submarket. I'm not talking about being stuck in a geography like many brokers can be, depending on the platform they're associated with, but Know your market, and that's the data, that's the comps, that's the pending sales, whatever market intel you've had and you know it. And then when you are talking with a client, a prospective client, another broker about that, you call it my market. Claim it as your own. It's amazing. Look at the face. It's amazing the twist that has.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Well, I do feel that way. I think about the markets, all we do is industrial in the Denver metro, like Commerce City, Aurora. I know these buildings and comps upside down and backwards.
Right.
It is my market.
Yes.
I just have never thought about phrasing it that way. But it's not, it's true.
It's a relationship. You embrace that relationship you have with it rather than it being an acquaintance.
Mm-hmm. And I say, these properties are like people. Some you see on the market at once a year, once every 2 years, and you're like, why is this property always on? You get to know them, you walk them. It's funny. It's
You can claim that as your own.
And I will, as I intend to do so.
Yeah, fine.
So,
well, let me ask you, if you don't mind, I'm flipping it. You're in and out of the market. I watch, as far as advice and thoughts and whatever. How are you addressing deal fatigue? Because I think it's a huge problem for brokers, especially deals that are taking a year, 18 months. They're just dragging on for whatever reason. And then here comes some new assignments, and those are shiny, exciting. How are you advising them to stay on task?
That's a great question. I mean, first and foremost, we're playing the long game. I will be in commercial real estate for my entire life. This is what I was born and bred to do. And like I said earlier, I understand the work I do today will pay me maybe in 3 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
And so once you essentially get that iron stomach where you're like, I can stomach this, I can understand that what our job is planting seeds. I have a garden. I plant my seeds and then I water them, nurture them, etc. But I have no control over when these seeds grow and when they flourish. I just have to have a large, your pipeline is your lifeline. So right now, just go straight into broker talk. So it's just understanding, like from day one, this is the long game. This is a long play. It will pay dividends. But those dividends, those glamorous 6-figure checks or 7-figure checks, they're not easy and they're not fast.
Right.
And we have a lot of competition, right? I have a lot of senior brokers who have been doing this for longer than I've been alive that I am competing with.
Sure.
So understanding the headwinds, but I also understand that, these 70-year-old brokers, like how much longer can they really do this? And then what happens to my business when those folks finally go to the Cayman Islands and stop calling my competitor, my potential clients?
But here's the thing with the seasoned professionals. Oftentimes they make themselves dinosaurs before their time.
Yeah.
They stop learning. They give all the learning and technology to junior brokers. And they're doing the glad handing with the clients. Rather than rolling up their sleeves and jumping in and being all in until the last transaction.
I look at somebody like Bob Knackle and the way he is
Love him.
Enthusiastic about figuring it out. Bob Knackle's the top grossing commercial real estate broker in New York City, probably of all time. We go to these conferences where we learn about commercial real estate and social media. Yep. He's in the front row taking notes.
He is.
He's 62.
But
just
he could coast from now on. But that is That's what I love about him is his dedication. That's what I love about Rod and Ron and so many of those brokers is it's not only the deal, but it's the client relationships. It's the relationships in the business no one wants to leave behind because we've been immersed. We've found our tribe, if you will.
And I'm okay with the senior brokers not adapting to new real estate, specifically the ones in industrial in Denver, Colorado. However, I empathize because I understand that it is to their own detriment and their clients' detriment. Because if you want, we're talking about lead generation for brokers, but what we haven't even discussed is marketing strategies for our clients. And if you are not adapting to reality, how can you really properly market a listing if you refuse to use new marketing channels? That's scary.
Well,
crazy.
It is. And think about it. Your client isn't getting the best use of you, the highest use of you. They're getting ordinary. I have a saying, playing it safe can only take you as far as ordinary. I'm not ordinary. You sure as heck aren't. And so why would we want to have our clients settle for ordinary? Give them the best. Give them a marketing that they deserve.
Yeah.
So that we have return business and we're not one-off brokers.
And we're not selling T-shirts here. We're selling the most valuable assets people own. Like, they deserve that.
Uh-huh.
And we owe it to them. That is, when you talk about ethics and
And trust.
Right. Ethically, we have to evolve. Because we don't choose where the market share consumes our media, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I could really go into it, Marcy.
I know. Absolutely. So I have a question for us.
Okay, that's funny.
How do you pivot from one client to another? Because the needs can be different from one client to another. Their understanding of commercial real estate could be very different than someone who's an asset manager for Prologis or whatever. Let's just say that. How do you find an in-between language? Do you pepper it up, salt it down, whatever it is? How do you handle the difference in clients?
It's a good question. And I'm still trying to figure out the answer to that, right? Look, when somebody starts in a commercial real estate career, they just want to take any deal possible. Anybody with a pulse and a need is what you do at the beginning.
Right.
Now, I am trying to work with a certain person at a certain level because I don't want to explain to somebody what a triple net lease is anymore, because if I have to explain to a tenant what a triple net lease is now, I know this is going to take way too long.
Mm-hmm.
So I have junior brokers. It's understanding the client, their needs, their level, and then placing them accordingly. I just brought on a new junior broker, and I got an assignment where the person genuinely needed space, but they also didn't know anything about the space they needed. They didn't know square footage. They didn't know budget, but they had the need. And it's like, I cannot personally spend my time on a small assignment where we have to figure out how much space you need, right? I need an operator to call me who's done this before, who is ready to transact, just because I don't have time.
Right.
But it's playing matchmaker, right? You don't know your square footage and you will be working with a junior broker. You're going to learn together. And you guys have ChatGPT. We didn't have that. So you're 100 steps ahead.
Right.
But it's just, being realistic with where you are, where you're at. And then also learning to say no, value your time.
Mm-hmm.
Not being a people pleaser. That's not being a people pleaser doesn't benefit anybody.
Yeah.
So self-awareness.
I would I would agree. It's interesting with no. I've found that women in our industry struggle with saying no. And one of the things I work with my clients on, it's not no, it's no, comma, not yet, which means you can ask a million times, which I've done a million times. Or a no is a yes in the making. That you can't let someone's response deter you. And once you learn to accept what no temporarily is or whatever, it's easier for you to say no because you know with the person you're saying no to the request, not to the person. Very, very different.
In this business, you have to learn how to take a no. I call it like getting kicked in the mouth first thing in the morning and then standing back up with a smile.
Sure.
And that, if you want to be successful in commercial real estate brokerage, is a must.
Right. And it's no to a request. That's
No,
all it is.
It's a no to a request. It's not a personal insult.
No. It has nothing to do with you personally. Unless they say, no, you stupid whatever person. Now, then you could probably take it personally, but it's no to the request.
Marcy, this has been fantastic.
It's been fun.
For the listeners, where can they find you, follow you, learn more about the Moneypenny Collective?
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity to do a small infomercial here. Moneypenny Collective. I'm on LinkedIn. All of my information, contact information, website, newsletter, all of that is listed there. But what I want to make a point is, for me, I started the Moneypenny Collective to serve women in our industry because I think they're underserved and underrepresented. But the funny thing, my first official client was a male broker. When you've worked with male brokers most of your life because you're in a male-dominated industry, that's how it works. But it is to serve people who might deal with self-doubt, self-talk, lack of confidence, wanting to increase their visibility. We talked about a million ways to increase their visibility. And for me to go in and help them with that, that's what the Moneypenny Collective is, in 35 years of experience, because I haven't stayed in one vertical my entire career. I've done a little bit of everything, worked with institutional clients and with mom and pop clients. So I can't say I've done it all, but I want to share that experience and advocate for people in our industry so they can be more successful than they already are.